Thank you. This has been a fascinating hearing and incredible. I think. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought yes, Mr. We have another member here present who would like to ask question. So I will recognize Mr. Akin.
Well, Madam Chair, I probably couldn't really ask the question I really want to ask because I guess it was some 30 years ago I found an old Tom T. Hall record in some back of a drugstore out in the country, and it had Chattanooga Dog on it, and I thought maybe Mr. Alcorn could give me a couple pointers, but I didn't bring my guitar over, so or Miss Fink. But I guess the concern is that because you have a very, very dynamic situation going on, are the regulations really something that we can live with, or is it going to be really destroying something that is providing a good part of culture in America? So I guess my question to Mr. Alcorn or anybody else who wants to ask, a lot of the songs you're playing may not have a major market appeal to the mainstream radio. You seem to have found a broad audience and appeal in the internet radio. Have you created a larger fan base due to internet radio? And do you have any examples of how far your music has actually reached around the globe?
Yeah, I would say internet radio, MySpace, of course. All forms of internet publicity have helped me big time. When my record came out, one of the first things to go out was a box of 100 of them to the Netherlands. And overseas, the traditional country music is a big thing. And here in the States, internet radio, we played a radio show on WDVX in Knoxville on tour, the Blue Plate Special, and we actually shut their server down because before I went on, I got on MySpace and put out a thing, we're fixing to be on this radio show. And in the course of us being on there for an hour, the thing shut down and people couldn't get it. So I think that it definitely plays a big part. And I would like to also touch on another aspect that was just mentioned too, about the border station type idea where the stuff being played overseas. That already happened in the 1920s when you had stations that refused to play black artists and refused to play Jimmy Rogers, hillbilly music at the time. These border stations created those artists that we call legends today. Elvis Presley was a little boy in Tupelo, Mississippi, listening to border stations. Johnny Cash was picking cotton in Dyess, Arkansas, listening to stuff that he could not get on American radio.
Thank you very much. Thank you also, Madam Chair.
Well, let me take this opportunity to thank all the witnesses. And if there is one thing that I have learned throughout this hearing this morning, and we're going to move to the second panel, but that is that there are small businesses on both sides in terms of this issue. And yes, indeed, it is true that our role here is not to facilitate negotiations between the two parties, but I would like to strongly suggest that you need to continue talking to each other. What I learned today is that there are new ideas and new information that was shared here today that one side or the other side will not know unless you continue to talk to each other. I don't know if the best solution is for Congress to act every 5 years. Like in 2002, you came here, we have our hearing, you came together, there was a compromise, and now 5 years later, we found ourselves in this predicament. And I don't know if when Congress gets involved that we might create unintended consequences to both sides on this issue. So with that, again, I want to thank you, and the witnesses are excused.